With more grades returning to school in the coming weeks, in line with South Africa's phased-in back-to-school approach, parents and guardians should keep the lines of communication open through frank conversations and feedback. For more, we're joined by John Lewis. He's the head of academics at ADvTECH Schools. A very good morning to you, John. How do parents help children to ease back into this new normal in the schools?
Good morning. Yes, so children are returning to the physical classroom, and what we must understand is that that physical classroom is not the physical classroom that they were used to before the COVID-19. And children are going through a number of emotions because of the uncertainty. There is frustration, there is resentment, there is even anger, and we need to be cognizant of where the students are with regards to their emotional and well-being. And what we are appealing to parents is that those systems and structures that we are putting in place in our schools, such as social distancing, such as sanitization, ongoing sanitization, etc., that those become practices that happen throughout the day, all the time for students. So if a child needs to wear a mask at home, it is important that the parent instill those behaviors at home as well. We're also asking parents to really sit down with their children, make sure that they are talking to their children about the reality, and that they try and assist their children in their thoughts and direct them as well as they can.
Give us a sense of, just in terms of how long you think it'll take for schools to catch up with the curriculum.
Well, unfortunately, there is a huge disparity across our country. We have some schools that have managed to successfully continue with online learning, both in the public school environment and the private school environment. We're a group of schools, and we have fortunately been able to continue our online learning. So our students do not need to catch up because they are on track with regards to the academic progress. Where schools have not been able to progress with the academics, it is really about looking at the curricula very, very carefully and making sure that the essential skills that are required for future years and for the progress into future years, that those are the focused skills. It is about reviewing the curriculum. It is about making sure that it is tight and that it is it looks essentially at that which is absolutely necessary for the development of children moving forward.
You say that your students' curriculum work is up to date. Is this because you had already phased in the 4IR capabilities, or did you have to also respond to events as they happened?
So we were very lucky because we started an online technology process already last year that we wanted to bring on board in our schools. And so the transition was not as difficult as it might have been had we not already started the conversation previously. We were able to provide rigorous online academic lessons as well as assessment throughout the time of the COVID period. And right now in our schools, as our students return, we still have children that are not able to return to school for whatever reason. And we have managed to put in an infrastructure which allows us to stream our lessons live across a number of classrooms and also to students that are at home. So we are in a privileged situation that we have the infrastructure and the systems and the technology to be able to manage it.
What has been your experience? Because on the one hand, it's the institution that's able to roll out all of these capabilities and infrastructure. And on the other hand is a mixed bag of students, those who have access to Wi-Fi, to technological devices, and those who don't. Take us through that journey that the school undertook.
We have made sure that we have put in place a very strong pastoral care, and we've placed great emphasis on pastoral care. So the minute a student is absent on a day, we have made sure that we made contact with those students to understand what their difficulties were in reaching out to the school. We encourage students and parents to come to the school to collect material if need be. We try and create other forums beyond the online, from telephonic conversations to emails to WhatsApp, etc. So the big key is to monitor and track which students are attending classes online and which aren't, and then to put systems in place to make sure that those students are being monitored and tracked, and we are trying to help them in every possible way to keep up with the academic progress. Once again, in our schools, the majority of our schools have been in a position to be able to continue with the learning online, and so it's also made it easier for us to manage those children that weren't able to come online.
Of course, ADvTECH is one of those institutions where you're involved both in the basic education and in the higher education spaces. Just take us through how you traverse those different challenges in both different spaces. Yeah,
so I'm on the school side, so I can't really talk for the tertiary side, but certainly we use the same kind of infrastructure, which was basically technology-wise. And again, where our students were not able to meet the online requirements, we tried to take it on a case-by-case scenario and tried to deal with solving the problem for the individual student, as opposed to trying to solve problems across, in a unilateral kind of way, in a general sense, for many, many students. So we provided an online offering, and then we asked students to engage us if they had difficulties in engaging with that online.
So let's talk about the way forward in two phases. On the one hand, the short term in terms of the concerns about the 2020 curriculum. And in the long term, just how this will change school and learning going forward.
This has been an interesting period because, children have realized that they can continue their academic journey and yet not have to be physically in a classroom. So we're really going to have to think really hard about how we engage our students in a program that is inspiring and challenging as well, and how we get our students to realize that there is great benefit in coming to the physical classroom. You must understand that places like the World Economic Forum, the International Labour Organization, they talk about the global competencies and the skills that are required for the world of work today, and those are way beyond just accessing content and being able to work with the content. For those skills, the physical classroom is going to change quite substantially, and the focus is going to be way beyond just coming to school to build on knowledge. So it's a very interesting time that we're in, and we're very excited about it. We're having high-end conversations, which we believe are incredibly progressive, and we're actually excited for the future. With regards to the curriculum coverage, traditionally schools have been very concerned about curriculum coverage, which is obviously very important. But what technology has done for us is it's really asked us to question our focus, our primary focus on curriculum coverage, and maybe shift that focus to what we call student mastery. And so we are really looking at putting in a whole lot of systems using technology around monitoring and tracking students' progress, which was not possible without technology. And so there are a number of shifts that we will see coming through. Those will be exploratory at first because they are new to the classroom, but there are definitely changes on the card for the physical classroom and to get children excited about the physical classroom.
John, let's thank you for talking to us this morning.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. John Lewis is with ADvTECH. It's a continuing conversation about preparation for returning to school.